Welcome to Courage on the Rocks, a space where stories flow like a good glass of whiskey. We're two best friends pulling back the curtain on all the conversations that usually happen behind closed doors.
From grief and love to dating, friendship, motherhood, and all the chaos of life in your 30s. We're diving into it all with honesty, humor, and a splash of courage.
This podcast is about real stories, ours, yours, and the incredible people we'll meet along the way. Whether you're here for inspiration, a fresh perspective, or just to hear from someone who gets it, we're glad you're with us.
So grab your favorite drink, hit play, and join us as we navigate the highs, the lows, and everything in between, one episode at a time. You okay over there? Today's comfort level looks like.
Anyways, welcome.
Welcome.
The Courage on the Rocks.
Cheers.
Cheers.
The weather's getting warmer.
Ooh. It is. I can't tell if I like it yet.
All right. You're going to tell our people what we're drinking?
Oh. Well, yes. Well, our traditional. We're drinking liquid IV because I'm still recovering from the Spartan race. Do not judge me. Because you didn't run it, I ran it.
Yeah. It was a bad concussion.
No, it was.
Yeah.
And I still have headaches that I'm dealing with, so.
Yeah. So liquid
That's
IV.
why we're staying away from the alcohol, even though if you're watching, there's a lot of alcohol on this table.
Okay, no. 3 bottles.
Oh, yeah. That's nothing.
Nothing than what we could have.
Wow.
Yeah. 3 bottles.
From Italy.
Today's episode is about
Sicily.
I'm excited.
Yeah, it was the trip that we actually did.
Almost a year ago.
Yeah, we're coming up to that year mark.
1 year mark.
When this comes out, we're going to be like almost on that year mark.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is exciting and very surreal at the same time.
Yeah.
Like that a whole year passed since that trip.
Yeah.
And that was like such a monumental trip.
Oh, yeah. I can't believe we did. We took.
Oh.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. It was expensive.
Yes.
And daring very out of character for me.
Yeah. But I think that was the whole point of the trip too.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, out of character, like, because my old character was gone now. So it was I was creating.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
So tell our listeners, when did you see this post?
My goodness, this was a journey. I don't know when. I just remember I was on Instagram. This was the time where we had just started rock climbing. Mm-hmm. Not just, we had been doing it for a good while, like 6 months. Mm-hmm. And really into it. It was really therapeutic for me, very helpful working through my grief. Yeah. In that space, that was so safe for me. Yeah. And I, kind of had it in the back of my mind, like you always know when the 1 year marks are of something, anniversary, someone who passed, whatever it is. And for me, like when Jorge passed, like that 1 year mark was always in my head. Like, I know that sun is going to get me back to that spot. And like, what am I going to do in that space? And so like, I didn't want to dread it. And I knew that I was already spending a whole year dreading it. So I knew I was going to feel something like that.
Yeah. The anticipation.
And that reminder and like sitting through that week again, just a year later, but knowing the trauma that was like still held in my body, from it. So I was like, I'm going to rewrite this. Yep. And so I didn't know how I was going to do it. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew I wanted it to be bold. She Moves Mountain is a company, a rock climbing company.
Yeah, women-owned.
Yes. Yeah. And they had like a advertisement out on Instagram that was like, come to Utah, right? Come to Moab with us. And I remember looking at it, I sent it to Leanne, and I was like, oh, we can do like go to another state, and we can rock climb for a weekend, and like do it with guides, and that would be cool. And Leanne was like, oh yeah, that would be cool. Like let's look into that. And of course I look into it. Yep. Really, really look into it.
So deep into that one.
And the next thing I know, I'm like, fuck in the States, let's go out of the country.
That was,
like, let's live it up. Let's do this. I was like,
that was the text.
So the Sicily trip was a week-long trip that happened to land on one of the death dates. So for clarity, like with Jorge, like the incident happened, the aneurysm happened on a Wednesday, so the 17th. But we didn't officially let him go until the 21st, which was like one of the dates for our anniversary, right? Yeah. So like those are the 2 dates I stick with. They both hold like a lot of meaning for me. Yeah. So when I was looking at dates for us to go, I was like, well, let's see where these trips land on. Yeah. And the Sicily, Italy trip landed. It got us there before, but then it ended on his death date. Yeah. So we would be flying back home when I say death date, it's on the 17th. It was the 17th. Yeah. The day that it happened.
Oh, yeah. I remember when you sent me that message, you're like, what about Italy? And I was like, okay. I know. I was like, I love Italy. I had gone, in college for study abroad, and I loved that country. So then when you sent it, and then when I saw the date, and I was like, I put the connection together, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm not going to say no to this one. Sign me up, right? Here's my credit card. Sign me up, kind of deal.
Pretty much, yeah. So we had sat on it for just a little bit. Yeah. It was just enough for us to figure out, like, could we get away from work for
Yes, that was the biggest
thing. 8 days. I was leaving Leo, so was I going to be okay leaving him for that long? Yeah. I never traveled internationally before. Yeah. I don't speak any other language besides English. Like, there was a lot of things that like would have typically held me back in the past. But we sat on it for maybe a week, and then like I think we FaceTimed during lunch one day, and we're like, let's do it. I think she officially said, yeah, I'm down, and then I was like, bought the purchase, so we're not going back. Like, I was like so kind of surprised, but it was really cool to see how quick I was like, yep, that's it. The decision has been made. I'm not even freaked out about it, and I wasn't.
Yeah, you weren't. It was very smooth, and like for your first time doing international things, like the way that the tickets were purchased, the flights, everything through She Moves Mountain was taken care of. Like that was just really smooth. I think it was meant to be like that for our first international trip together because for the magnitude of what it was, but also for just to feel out, international rock climbing.
Totally. Which, mind you, when we booked this trip, we had never outdoor climbed. Right? We never outdoor climbed before.
Never.
But we were like, we're going to do it anyways.
We're going to try.
We're going to try. So, She Moves Mountains. Do you want to tell them a little bit about like the trip and logistics and how it worked for us?
Yeah. We flew out, and it was a direct flight, right, from San Francisco to Italy?
No, it wasn't.
Oh my gosh. Oh yeah,
because we have beautiful mugs.
It's been a while.
Wait, hold on. Can we give them a pop quiz though?
Yes.
Okay. So
pop quiz.
If you're looking at this, you're seeing these awesome mugs from Zurich. If you're not, that's what's in our hands. And pop quiz. Where is Zurich?
What country?
What country is Zurich in?
The country of
Switzerland. And what's funny is because we didn't have a direct flight because we landed in Switzerland thinking that we were in Germany.
Yep.
Made sure that we had to get these Starbucks mugs while we were in Germany. Standing in line looking at the mugs, and I'm like, that's so weird. Like, Zurich's in Germany, but why is there a Switzerland mug here? There's no Germany mugs. Why is there Switzerland? I can't buy Switzerland. I'm not here. Yeah. Like, if I knew I was in Switzerland, I would have gotten a Switzerland mug. I would not have gotten a Zurich mug. They were even cuter, right?
Zurich is in Switzerland.
Well, yeah, but the Switzerland mug.
The Swiss mug.
Anyways,
we
didn't know where we were at.
Yeah. No wonder. We got flustered for that one. So we flew in there. Then took a quick trip to Sicily.
Quick trip. That was the trip.
That was the trip. Okay, it wasn't.
Did a pit
But
stop in
the
Sicily?
San Francisco to Zurich one, that was a long one. That was a long flight.
Yeah.
And then it was a couple of hours
Yeah,
from Zurich Zurich to Switzerland. Sicily. Too many S's.
Sicily was short and gorgeous, and you saw the Swiss Alps, and oh my God, my mind was blown.
Yeah.
Stunning.
Just gorgeous. Yeah. So we got there. Then we had all of our luggages and we're walking around thinking, who do we meet?
Looking for someone with a sign.
Someone with a sign.
Something.
Yeah, like She Moves Mountains something, right? And then we ended up seeing someone with a little sign of She Moves Mountains. I was like, that must be us. There's a bunch of rock climbing girls with backpacks and it looks like helmets and ropes and stuff like that. And I was like, let's check in with them because they look like rock climbing girls.
Yeah.
So we did, and it was our crew. We waited for a couple other people. They picked us up and, popped us in a van and drove. So we flew into Palermo, Sicily, which is the major city there on that island.
Not big.
Not big. But it was pretty big compared to what we went to next.
You know what? I have a lot more appreciation now.
So we flew into Palermo. Then we took, what was it? It must have been like an hour, 45. It was a long drive from Palermo to San Vito El Capo. San Vito something. I know one of these must have it, right?
It's okay, keep going.
So we went there, got checked into a cute little hotel.
Yeah, it was adorable.
It was really nice.
Yeah.
And then had a check-in dinner. So it's really nice because they have it all laid out for you. They have a scheduled out day, when you're going to eat with everyone, when it's on your own, when you're going to meet your guides. So they had the dinner, morning breakfast, meeting the guides, dividing up to levels and groups and talking with us with what our skills are, what our goals were for rock climbing. And then just introducing each other to one another. Yeah, which was really interesting.
I still think back on that experience of meeting everyone in the morning for the first time. We're all sitting in a circle and they start, introducing themselves, and I remember it being the first time I'm like, oh crap, I'm here for a reason and I need to tell that reason.
Yeah.
And I remember standing up and being like, hi everyone, my name's Maria. I got into rock climbing a year ago.
Yeah.
But it was, really for to help cope because, I lost my husband and I'm a mom and blah, blah, blah. I remember doing that and I'm trying not to cry.
Yeah.
But then I see other people trying not to show their tears.
Yeah.
But it was also I was the only person there who was married or widowed, right? Everyone was single or dating, right?
Or had partners with them.
Or had partners. But no one had children. Not a single person had a kid. And that, I remember talking with people throughout the experience, and it was almost crazy. Well, you're a mother and you're here.
Yeah.
In both these really great but also questionable ways. You know.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people would have envisioned doing an international trip without the child.
Yeah.
Let alone do it with with such confidence of I need to do this to heal myself.
Yeah, it was for me. That was for me.
That trip was for you. Yeah. So then we did the introduction, and then they broke us out, and every day we went out, met up at 7 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock, had breakfast, very light breakfast, packed everything up.
Cannoli after cannoli after cannoli. That was my breakfast.
A bunch of
pastry.
Oh my gosh,
cream.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's just the pastries were delicious.
It was great. I don't think I've climbed better with any other food in my system.
Yeah, it was really good. And then we spent the entire day out there. We drove out to the crag, and it was really nice because each day that we went out, we went to different locations.
Yes.
On in that area, which is nice to see different features and different views.
And you're literally climbing this beautiful cliffside. And then there's the beach down below. There's the waves. If you want to, you can go hop in the sea.
Right? We did that as well. Yeah. One of the trip, I think the second day climb, where we spent all afternoon and maybe around 2, 3 o'clock. The sun was on the crag. It was just really hot. We packed everything up, went down to the Mediterranean. People hopped in, took a dip.
They literally were taking off their climbing clothes, and I'm over here like, what? We were supposed to wear something underneath this?
Yeah, but it did feel really nice to like that feeling, that cold plunge feeling of getting in, and doing that little bit of that recovery. And then they always had like great gatherings of people messaging each other like, hey, we're going to go try this dinner place.
Yeah.
We're going to meet here, see this. So.
It was just so cool, like, because we knew each other, but there were like, how many other people? Like 10 other people, something like that, from all around the United States.
Yeah.
Who all had very different jobs, very different personalities, experiences. And then we had like our guides, like 4 or 5 of them, all women, and they were just like, unbelievable. Like, insane. My gosh. Like, the most buff, knowledgeable, almost like they're like almost a level of a Sherpa, I swear. Like they were so cool.
Yeah.
To even like be in the presence of these women who all they did were like international rock climbing trips, skiing,
snowboarding,
but not like skiing how we do it on our tiny little. No, it's like skiing in Swiss Alps. And avalanches and all of these insane things.
Yeah. And the knowledge that they gave us during all their time there. I remember one of them guy talking us to sharing the knowledge of different belays and different routes, and I was just like, oh my gosh, just amazing. And the stories and about like how they recover and their travels of how the world is such a big and beautiful place, and they've had so many amazing experiences.
And they're all from
with
Europe, right?
They are.
Like,
they're all
they our vacation is their reality, like every single day.
Yeah.
Just stunning.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Yeah.
I was really intrigued by seeing all the diverse people that came, and like especially the career paths.
Cool, yeah.
We had like people who work in the UN versus doctors versus people who work in tech companies, people who had all of these amazing jobs and careers, and like learning how they navigated and got to rock climbing.
Yeah, it's been
and
really
then how we all connected through rock climbing.
Yeah, and are still connected. Yeah. Like, we're all, like, a bunch of us are still connected on Facebook or Instagram. Yeah. Right? Like, it's cool watching them kind of do their thing in some other state, some other country. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so cool.
And watching them still flourish through rock climbing and trips, and it was just really cool. I was like, oh my God, they're still continuing on their passion, just like we are whenever we take our trips.
Yeah. So we would climb for literally like 8 hours, like straight. And then we would go back into the little town of Sicily, find like some gelato, yeah. Did I just say the name of that other place? Gelato. I can't say it because I didn't like it, and I'm gonna be the person.
Well, no, you got the wrong flavor.
Okay, I started off with the wrong flavor, and I liked
mine.
Mine was bad. It was bad.
Yeah, what you got?
Pistachio.
But it was.
But it was the authentic Sicilian pistachio.
Yeah, really rich.
You can't do that if you're not.
If you're not a pistachio person, don't do that one.
No, not even if you're not authentically Sicilian.
They did love their pistachio for everything. Yeah,
it was like a paste. It was crazy. Yeah.
I got an Oreo one. Loved it.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And then the strawberry one. That was really nice and refreshing as well.
I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah.
I couldn't get past day one.
The food, I think that's
okay. Let's preface this with like, we loved the experience.
Yes.
But also, just because we visit doesn't mean we have to love everything.
We don't have to love every aspect of it. Yeah. Our taste palette was probably not fitted for Sicily specifically.
Specifically the island that does not get food transported regularly
from the main island.
Freshly from the main island, and rely solely what is grown or fished upon that island.
Yeah.
Not for us.
No, it was not.
No,
there was heavily salted things.
There wasn't anything that wasn't salty.
Yeah.
Heavy salts like cheeses, meats, like charcuterie boards up the wazoo, which I would think like, oh yeah, sounds amazing, right? there was no vegetables, no fresh. Like trying to find a salad was like impossible. We were getting tomatoes on something and being like, I'm getting this just because there's a tomato here.
The bruschetta.
The bruschetta. And even then there was like, it was also a chocolate bruschetta.
Yeah.
I was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
But we found that on like our last night and I was like, oh, if I had known there was a tomato in this place.
Yeah.
It was crazy to the point where like we stopped eating.
Yeah. And I think it really hurt us because for the lunches is what really hurt us. The lunches, the sandwiches, they were heavily salted, just in a lot of different flavors, just like overwhelming amount of flavors in there, which we're just not used to of all that
but
cuisine.
Also, like when you're climbing, and this is regardless of where I'm at here in the States, whatever, like I can't do anything that's like really salty after exercising or if I'm like remotely dehydrated. Yeah. Right? And so like that was like really hard because we weren't eating lunches. So we were really only eating breakfast, which, you know, at least for me, that was freaking pastry and
fruit and banana.
3 pastries, tea, and a banana, right? Yeah. No lunch. And then dinner, we just couldn't find things to put in our body. Yeah. Which we ended up like, obviously we survived. Hello, we're here. Yeah. But it really kicked our ass on the last night.
It did. Yeah. It was, I think, a reality, like a culture shock for us in that aspect of it.
100%.
Yeah,
like, the culture shock.
We need to make sure either A, we bring supplement things with us, and then B, look at a variety of different things. Yeah. And just attempt to try it. Yeah. I guess. Because I feel like we did try it, but it just was a lot.
Yeah, I feel like
they love their pistachios and their basil everything. And pesto was everywhere.
You know, which sounds like basil pesto. Come on, guys, what's wrong with you?
No, but it was like a different type.
Like there's pistachio on the pasta, right? Or it's like there's the sardines, pasta, like which. Speaking of, we went on a catamaran. Yeah. That was amazing.
That was.
Yeah, in the Mediterranean Sea. And like for the first time, like I could look down and like just saw fishies. Yeah. Right? That was so cool.
Was really good.
And you have like, you know, the cliffs and like the old architecture and like it was just like and
beautiful.
Remember the wedding that was happening in this tiny little secluded town? It was like
so cute. It's like a Mamma Mia moment.
It was totally a Mamma Mia moment.
Yeah, I loved it. So you have like 2 days of climbing and then you have a rest day, and on the rest day we went on the catamaran and the boat trip. It was an extra excursion. We're like, we're gonna go try it. Why not? Like one of us have ever, swam around in the Mediterranean. We're gonna do it. Beautiful day, gorgeous, and the best part, or the slimiest part, the captain fished, pulled up one of the fish, chopped his head off, gutted it. Was it tuna? I'm not sure.
We don't know fish.
Oh, we don't know fish. All we know, he gutted it right in front of, chopped it in front of us, and was like, here.
Yeah, it was.
Talk about fresh.
Tricky. We don't eat raw fish. But like our goal was like we're gonna try whatever it is that comes our way when we're in Sicily. And so he said okay. So he literally gutted it. We really tried to not watch that, but then he had like these baguettes, and then like fresh oil, and he mixed it all together, and then he put it on the baguettes. And just laid it out with, I think there was wine. Yeah. And so we were drinking a little bit of wine, eating the fish. Yeah. It was really good. Yeah. And then apparently there's a part on the fish. I don't know what it is. It's liver, spleen,
some organ.
It's white, and it's an organ. And supposedly it's like the best of the best, like that's what you want, and so he gets that little gooey slimy stuff out of the fish, puts it on in a bowl, a little bit more oil, a couple things, mixes it, and then people have an opportunity to like taste it. Oh, and we said we were gonna try everything. Yeah. And we did. And at first it was like a that's interesting. And then the second part is like, nope, I don't want this in my mouth. Get it out. This is
I remember I was just,
yeah, you're like, let it just slither down your throat.
And everybody else is like, yummy, best thing, so delicious.
Well, because you also have like people who are Italian also on this,
yeah, that's true.
You know, catamaran. So you're like trying to be like, you're respectful. So like if you don't like it, you're not gonna show it. But we can see it in each other's eyes. It was an experience.
It was a good one. Yeah, it was a really, really fun trip. I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked everything about it. The boat trip, the rock climbing again, all the fun experiences. The local people there, though, like when the sun went down and the community, the lights, and people were out talking, it reminded me of picturesque of what the epitome of Italian night family life is supposed to be
when
like.
Their siestas are over.
Yeah.
At 7 o'clock.
Yeah. I'm like,
dinner was late over there.
Dinner was late, but it was so beautiful seeing everybody out on the square, really the plaza area.
It was cool.
Talking, drinking, laughing, shopping. You know, it was all fun. Walking up and down the shops area. The amazing little family that we bought most of our...
Yeah, the vast majority of our wine. Came from this adorable old man that Liana found.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I went because she had gone to a different store and I was like, Mariah, you have to come back because there's this little Italian man who's just the sweetest.
I mean, when I say little, he
was little, smaller than me, little, okay? And he was just so nice and so like, oh, where are you from? And showing things and using Google Translate and having people to help him. Aww. And I was like, we have to go back. So we went back and we got just a shit ton of...
We bought so much wine, noodles.
Yeah.
Olive oil. Everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
And it was so kind that we thought we had to walk back to the hotel with it all.
Yeah.
We're like, oh shit, it's gonna be heavy.
Yeah.
As a workout. No, he got his little Italian bike.
With the
basket, put it all on there, and was like walking us to
the bike with us all the way across the town
to our hotel and dropped it off for us.
And we even took a picture with
We did.
him.
We'll have to show you guys.
Yeah.
Super
There's a lot. You're going to see us eating the fish stuff.
Yeah.
If you follow our Instagram, Courage on the Rocks,
yes,
you're going to see the visuals to all of these stories.
We should make a reel of it.
Yeah. You do the one that we've been needing to
this whole time. Let's put it on there.
Yeah.
Anyways, super kind guy. Just loved every moment of it.
Freaking adorable.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a really cool experience.
Yeah. And then we ended the last night we ended with a big, beautiful, dinner with everyone, all the guides, everyone we met, sharing last story.
That's what we had, pizza that night, and that was the first meal that was actually good.
That was a good one,
that one was so good. Their margarita pizza.
That was a good one.
Knocked it out of the park. I haven't had one better than that.
Yeah, that was really good. All their little appetizers.
Yeah.
And it was just great, to connect with everyone, to hear their stories of how their trip was and what the memories that they've created.
Yeah.
So,
it was beautiful.
Yeah. And then we packed up. Oh, that night before that night we also packed everything, had to pack everything up.
So we...
Shit ton of stuff.
we did our last hoorah dinner with everybody.
Yeah.
Leon and I went shopping far more than we should have ever done.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah, somebody needs to watch us next
time. Went back to the hotel, and I think someone made a comment like, are you sure you want to take all that? And we're like, yeah.
Yeah.
Why not? And then we went in to pack.
Yeah.
And that's when we started experiencing some problems.
The problem was, it wasn't the number of bottles that you can bring bottles, like the number of bottles. It's the weight of it that we totally underestimated ourselves.
And everyone listening right now is like, everybody knows that.
Duh, everyone knows that. But we didn't, okay? We just didn't, and that's just what it is.
Yeah, so then we started to do like a process of elimination in order to even pack things.
Yes. Be very strategic.
And then we were able to shove everything in, and we had it all ready to go, and it was already late, but we had kind of made a promise to each other. So the last night, that was going to be, or like the last day there, that was going to be Jorge's, the 17th, right, of when Jorge had his aneurysm. And so we're packing, that's the day of the 16th. We know midnight is literally around the corner, so we got a bottle of champagne.
Yep.
And we took it up to the top of our cute little hotel that had a, oh my God, what is it? Big view. There's a
it's a rooftop
there it is.
Bar, pool area.
Yeah. So basically you get to the top, there's a pool, there's this beautiful seating, but you're looking across all of Sicily in the pitch black with all of the Sicilian lights, everything.
Yeah.
And so Leon and I, went up there and we popped the champagne in honor of me.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was...
And your resilient year.
Resilience. A year of, like, just pure resilience and grit.
Yeah.
And I was going to celebrate that.
You were. And we did. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was beautiful.
Yeah, we sat there with our blanket.
We talked.
Champagne, talked.
Yeah.
And then we watched the sunrise.
Yeah. And then we walked downstairs, grabbed our bags, and went off to the airport.
Yeah. Hopped on the bus to get back.
Sleep.
No sleep, because we were like, why didn't you sleep? We watched the sunrise and then fall asleep on the plane.
For 11 hours.
Yeah,
anyways,
that's true too.
Right?
Yeah.
And I loved how we ended it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I think it ended exactly the way, like, how organically it began, the trip, just this beautiful, like, putting a bow on it.
Yeah. It really was.
Yeah. All up until when we got to the airport was beautiful.
We should have just ended it there.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to Crack on the Rocks.
If you want to continue how our airport memories was.
One of, like, I was so embarrassed. I don't know if I've been more embarrassed in a moment in my life for being a foreigner. I thought, take me now, God. Just, Jorge, come and get me, please get me out of here.
Okay.
Oh,
so what she's saying is, remember how we had stuffed everything in every nook and cranny of our bags, our extra bag, our backpack. So we had it all, and then we get there, and they said, no.
Not even like a maybe. It was no.
No.
And I was like, oh, we're a little bit overweight. Like, what's the extra cost, you know? And the lady was
looked at us.
Looked at me like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Seriously, she's like,
very respectful.
$400 just to get my bag across to the U.S.
Yes. It was that much overweight.
It wasn't even a conversation. It was clean your bag out now or you're not getting on the plane.
Yes.
Which is leaving.
Yeah, that was the scary part. Yeah.
That was horrifying.
Yeah, so then we both were, overweighted. Yeah. So then we had to get back out of line.
Get out of line.
With our suitcase, go to the nearest trash can.
It was a hallway.
Open our suitcase.
In front of everyone.
Everyone.
Mind you, we just threw shit in at this point. Underwear, you might have a fucking thong, a bathing suit, I don't know.
Everything was just
fresh, and it's on display for everyone. And they're just watching us.
And they're just
speaking. One looked like fucking we're about to cry.
True.
And then we're both like, do we take this? What do we do? How much are we gonna keep?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, just fuck it.
Yeah,
we ended up only keeping like 4 maybe.
Yeah. Like bottles. we on the trash can there are beautiful bottles of wine and beer and like
so
other
everyone
fun things.
Like literally entering into Palermo. We're just standing there watching us. They weren't foreigners. They belonged there.
The people people were dropping people off.
They were just watching us and waiting.
Yeah.
Because that was then going to be their wine.
Yeah. That is going to be mine for
them like horrible amount of fresh, beautiful wine.
Yeah.
And it's like I almost felt like it just felt as bad as if someone was just recording us. Like how embarrassing. Like it was so horrifying that I was like, don't look at anybody. Just get it all out of your bag. I don't even care if I have anything left. And then make sure it weighs.
It weighs not $400 weighs.
Not $400. And it wasn't $400. I said $400, and then she's like, It's not dollars.
You know it's not. Also, yeah, that was the other thing.
I was under pressure.
Yeah.
I
400 euros.
Forgot. She's like, it's 400 euros. And in my
Yeah.
head, I'm like, but that's so close to $400.
Like,
it
no,
was offensive.
It was, yeah.
And
yeah.
I didn't mean it.
Yeah. Well, we were not educated in that area.
Anyways, so the flights back sucked donkey butt.
No, except for the flight back because we lost some of our stuff.
Flight, even anyways.
The flight to Zurich was pretty because it was going back to the Alps. Okay, but we get there. That small little. We get to Zurich again. And we have like less than an hour to go from one part of the international airport all the way to the other part. And in that part, I would say we quickly glanced at the food area of the Zurich airport, and we're getting two of that, we're getting two of
that. Five of these, four of these, three of these. We're like, get all the food.
Starving. Yeah, I think at that time our body. Two containers of sushi, sandwiches, pasta salad, drinks. We literally loaded our arm with something. Each of us had bags of something.
Yeah, and it was the
sprinted to the airport, to the next plane.
Yeah.
Hopped on, sat down,
and then shoved food in our mouth. And it was the best food.
The best food ever.
The entire vacation was in the airport.
The best sushi was found at the airport. It was so delicious. In Switzerland.
It was just...
Yeah. But also maybe because we were really starving as well. Yeah, we were craving that.
So starving.
Yeah, and then I think we just knocked out, on the flight back to San Francisco. Yeah. I just remember being just genuinely exhausted.
We were done. And I was done with people.
Yeah.
I like being back in America where I was like...
Home.
I was home, right?
Familiarity of it, yeah.
Man, that's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was a really good experience.
Oh, it was amazing.
We learned so much about our travel experiences in Italy, and I think also you and I had this conversation. If we're going to do another international trip, it's going to be a combination of tour stuff and rock climbing because. Now, I think one of the things I would regret about going all the way to Italy is not seeing those iconic places that you've never seen. So you had to go back to Italy and see those iconic places, the tour spots now, because we were just on a little island in Sicily.
Going back to Sicily.
Yeah. Right? We just won't be going back to Sicily.
Yeah, it was a really great opportunity. We loved it. It 1000% served its purpose for why we went.
And it jump-started our love for outdoor climbing.
Yeah, and we came back different. We came back we even just being on the flight from Switzerland back to San Francisco. I remember just thinking we're going to go outdoor climbing now, and it's going to be a consistent thing, and we're going to build a community, and everything from who we were as rock climbers, who I was as a mom, who I was as a widow, who I was as someone who wanted to start dating again, all of these things. It was this massive moment.
Yeah. It's you were coming back as a rebirth of a phoenix rising from ashes kind of situation.
Exactly.
And I remember on that flight back, you were writing in your journal, and we were talking about how this is going to change everything now. Everything of who we are going to be, how we're going to envision our life from now on, and saying yes to opportunities when given to us, when given okay, do you want to go on a trip? Yes, we are going to make that happen. Do you want to go outdoor rock climbing with us? Absolutely, we're going to make that happen.
And what's trippy is we're flying back, from this beautiful trip, and it's also we're flying back on the same day a year ago. My husband had his aneurysm. And we lost him. Right. I just lost my mother-in-law. She died 2 weeks or so, just a few weeks before we even left, and we did her funeral, and then I literally left to Italy.
Yeah,
right?
That's right.
So it was these really massive things, and yet we were coming back rebirth and full of so much hope and light, and the goal of doing this every year, which it's not gonna be Italy every year, but the purpose and the actively doing something to honor life, I think is the whole point of why we get to wake up every day and live, right?
Oh yeah.
It's we lost people. I lost people who are beyond close to me, and then I got a choice. Right? And for me, if you're not learning one of the biggest lessons, which is to value life and to live it fully.
Yeah.
If you don't learn that after death, then what are you doing?
Yeah.
Right? Because they don't get to be here, and Jorge would love to be here with his son, right? He would give anything.
Yeah.
But he doesn't get that. We do. So
Yeah.
how are we going to move about our lives and live our life and be who we fully are?
Yeah.
That's the whole fucking purpose.
Yeah.
Right?
Show up for ourselves.
Show up for ourselves, and don't be afraid to love again.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to do that crazy thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Jump those cliffs.
That's the whole thing. You know. So this year, we're not going to Italy. We debated Greece just a little bit, but my bank was like, "Hey, maybe not."
Both of our banks were like,
one of those every year.
Yeah.
But we do plan to go back to Yosemite.
Do an extraordinary thing.
Yes.
I'm excited. First time ever. You can't call yourself a rock climber in this community without going to Yosemite.
And climbing in Yosemite.
And
that was the first place I ever climbed. It was the first place I had my first date after Jorge. It was the first place I turned around above the treetops and thought, wow, like I can feel you, God. I can feel you, Jorge. Like, you know. So going back there is really special. Yeah. But going back in the way that we're going back is really, really special.
Yeah. And we're excited for that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
Cheers to Italy and Sicily.
And courage to live life.
Yes.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for tuning into Courage on the Rocks.
Until next time, hold on to your courage, and we'll see you soon. Cheers!